Yeah, I was talking about the emphasis referred to the other video right now. So I'll continue from here. So I said the MVC is a programming concept that seeks for proper division of labor in programming. MVC is a concept or a design in programming that separates sections of your code into those three major: model, view, and controller. So the MVC, the acronym MVC actually stands for model, which is where your data is stored. It talks about variables, where you define your variables and objects and the functions and stuff. And then the view is where you display your information to the user. This is the interface where your user understands your logic, how your user sees and interacts with your background logic. This is where you show success, errors, success messages, error messages, information to the user, and directions, and stuffs. This is just basically where your user sees your stuffs. And controller, this whole basically holds the business logic, the functions. This holds how your business works. So this is where it resides, and this is the section of code where it resides in the controller. So a lot of definitions are online for what MVC is, but I'm trying to keep it pretty simple here. So this is MVC. We'll go to the next. So AngularJS beliefs and AngularJS philosophy. Now, AngularJS is data-driven via data binding, right? Now, there are two types of data binding in AngularJS. We have the single binding, and we also have a two-way binding. We can also say we have a one-way binding and we have a two-way binding. A one-way, but majorly what we want to understand here is that the binding is done with majorly always a variable in the controller. You understand? So we always bind a variable from the controller to the view, so that whenever we change anything in the view, it reflects in the model. Whenever we change anything in the model, it reflects in the view. We'll talk about this majorly. I'm just doing a quick intro on all those things. Now, AngularJS is believed to be declarative. So AngularJS is declarative via directive. Now, a single page application is usually made up of multiple separate HTML snippets and data stitched together via JavaScript. More often than not, we end up having HTML templates that have no indication of what they turn into. But for AngularJS instead promotes a declarative paradigm where you declare right in your HTML what it is you're trying to accomplish. We'll talk more on this as we continue. Now, separating your concern. We talked about MVC, and how to separate sections of codes, that works together as a unit, but they're actually separated in our concept, in our design, but they still work together. AngularJS is unique that way. Also, works with the MVC. We'll talk about this. We'll see how it works. So we're just doing a quick rub off of whatever we're going to be doing later. So dependency injection. AngularJS works heavily using dependency injection. The part where you don't have to hard code so many things in your modules, but you can inject services, you can inject filters, you can inject whatever it is. You can inject modules too. AngularJS also works heavily with dependency injection. Also, extensible via directives. AngularJS is a very extensible framework where you can teach the HTML new behaviors. Like the head, you can attach behaviors to elements, new elements, to div, to spans. You can do a lot of things with our directive. We're gonna see all of this as we continue. So all these are what makes AngularJS what it is and what makes it a better JS framework than others. We continue. Okay, so we're talking about So okay, in our when we came here, we've talked about AngularJS. We've talked about what is MVC and what does it have to do with Angular. We said MVC here is majorly separation of codes into different segments, into the model, into the view, and the controller. And what does it have to do with Angular? Angular enforces this in its design. So yep, we're gonna be using MVC while designing our Angular apps. Now, what backend does Angular support? Angular support majorly, well, I'm not gonna say majorly, but AngularJS works with all backends, but I think it works better with JSON data. And I think it works better with JSON. AngularJS supports all backends, and there are always ways to make it work better, but it works better with backends that returns JSON data. So Angular can work with whatever backend it is you're trying to do, to use PHP, ASP, just whatever it is you're trying to do. Try to return JSON that it can always be done. Just Google away, I guess. AngularJS believes, we've talked about AngularJS belief, declarative, extensibility, and so on. Now, does my app need to be entirely JS app? Well, that question this is the answer to that question. No, your entire app does not have to be AngularJS. If you have other frameworks you prefer using or you would like to incorporate in your code, well, AngularJS lets you make the choice yourself. You can either, if you can see this, you see here, let's take here to be the full HTML we're going to be working with. Here in the first element here, HTML, we can see that we have ng app, my app. Here AngularJS bootstraps itself, and then the entire app here, it's Angular, right? Now if you also come down here, you see that the ng app rather has been, this ng app here is a directive. We talked about directive that adds more behavior to our HTML element. Well, we're going to see that later, but just bear with me here. You see that this ng app here has been moved to the body, okay, which also mean this application, everything, all child elements between this in the body element is gonna be an AngularJS app. So here, if you come down here, also we see that the ng app here has been moved to the div, right? Which means only this div, only the elements or the child elements in this element or in this containing element is what's going to be an AngularJS app, which means if you can use your other frameworks, jQuery, Bootstrap, whatever it is you want to use. Okay, so wherever it is, wherever we include this directive ng app, it's where AngularJS bootstraps itself, and then its child elements are the AngularJS app. This is the intro. So after this, we're gonna start getting our hands dirty. Alright, so thank you for watching this video, and you drop your comments and leave a like, subscribe, and we'll continue this tutorial soon. Thanks for watching. You have a nice day now.